Well, hello. I said I was gonna start at 3. I'm gonna start at 3. I'm trying to be on time for the folks. I guess I could wait for people to join. Hi, Jazzy. Hi. I'm gonna wave at you. I'll wave at you. Hi, ladies. I'm gonna just start. I guess I should just start. I tried to be on time. I'm actually kind of sad. D Nice is starting to spin right now. And if you don't know, Club Quarantine is what gets me through. It's what gets me through. So I'm going to just give it a whirl and people can join in and come in when they want to. So the reason why I'm doing this live is because I was having a conversation with a friend a couple of days ago, and I just remember talking about my job currently, and I remember saying to her that I pretty much am sick and tired of being in debt for something that I don't truly enjoy. And I was like, maybe it's time to talk about all of my emotions and feelings regarding career satisfaction and passion and purpose and all of that. So, hi. Hi, Tanya. Always supporting. So sweet. So the purpose of this live, the purpose of me doing this live is because I have notes over here. So this is what I'm reading. Like, I actually took legit notes because I wanted to be on top of it. The reason why I'm doing this live is because I want to talk about the complexities and sometimes the disheartening times of being in a career that you don't love, and then feeling ill-prepared for the things that are in front of you and not being able to seize those opportunities, and then feeling like you're stuck in limbo. And hi, Destiny. Stuck in limbo and just kind of sad about the fact that you can't move forward. So some of the things that I want to talk about, I want to start with nursing misconceptions, and just start with that. A lot of people, when I tell them that I'm a nurse, they automatically are like, oh, you must make bank. I know you're rich. I know you make a whole bunch of money. That depends on what unit you're on. What specialty does your hospital pay? Specialty pay, all of that. It really does depend. I just saw something. It was an anonymous nurse, like how much you get paid. And some nurses, are getting paid $24 an hour with 7, 8, 9 years of experience. That's in different states. It's not in California, but, not all nurses are paid equally. So that's something that I want to talk about. The cost to be a nurse. It costs dollars to be a nurse. I am one, I don't mind sharing my finances. I don't mind talking about money. That is something that is totally okay with me. I have blog posts upon blog posts about my journey to be a better steward over my finances. Hello. And so as far as nurses making a lot of money, I make more money than I ever have in my entire life, right in this moment. But more money, more problems. I personally had to take out student loan money to go to nursing school. And I went to a private school because that's just the way that it ended up working out. So are you ready for this? Don't spit your food out or your drink out. I am over $200,000 in debt because wasn't nobody bankrolling my education, making sure I lived indoors, paying for food, car note, all of that. So, this nurse is heavily in debt. And how nurses work, where they work, some nurses work every day a week, 5 days. Some nurses work, 3/12s, 4/10s, varying days. So it's all over the place. So every nurse is not created equal and every nurse does not get paid the same. And I started to think about nurses right now, our society, how nurses feel. No, student loans is not a game. And if they will forgive mine, y'all don't want to see nobody run. Okay? I will praise his name. But I was current view of nurses, right? Heroes, seen on the front line, thank you nurses, all of that, versus the old way. I don't know if anybody remembers Joy Barr from The View talking about Nurse Kelly. I think she was Miss California at the time, and how she's wearing a doctor's stethoscope. I don't know how many of you go to the hospital or have people in the hospital that you've seen, but have you ever seen their doctors wearing stethoscopes? No, because they don't wear them. They borrow them from us. So I have my stethoscope and I wear mine and I check my patients, but the doctors, they don't use stethoscopes like that. So I don't know what they're auscultating, listening for. I guess they can listen through your body because they're so wise. But that's the current view of nurses, right? So us now, all of a sudden, we're all up on this pedestal. You think about nurses, you think about heroes, you think about all of these great things. And then you get to those of us who feel slightly guilty. I'm looking at notes so that I can stay on track. Feel slightly guilty about all of this recognition, right? Because I have a friend, there's two groups of nurses. There are nurses. Hi, Carissa. There are nurses, and then there are nurses, right? The nurses, oh my gosh, been wanting to be a nurse since they were little. They can't think of anything else they'd rather do. This is everything they've ever wanted to do. Oh my gosh, I wanted to be a nurse, and just all of that, right? Live, breathe, eat nursing. And then there's me, the nurse. There are certain aspects of my job that I love. There are certain aspects of my job, oh baby, you can miss me with all of that. I love educating my patients. I love empowering them. I love making them feel comfortable. All of that, right? But then there's some parts where I'm like, why do I have to be this gatekeeper? Too many people calling my phone to ask me questions that, why? Why do I need to be the clarifier for all of these other people? Making my day so much more hectic. So there's me, the nurse. But it's hard because you're supposed to uphold this persona of a nurse. When you guys think of nurses, what do you think about? What adjectives come to mind, right? Maybe compassionate, maybe helper, maybe a giver, a nurturer, right? But I know nurses, they are the personification of bitter or angry or upset, and they are none of those adjectives, and they're just doing the job just to do the job at this point. So it's hard when you're trapped in between already maybe not necessarily loving what you're doing, right? And then being held to this standard of what a nurse is supposed to be and how a nurse is supposed to act and the characteristics that a nurse is supposed to have. Then there's pressures from society, right, to stick to a certain career, old school thinking, right? My mother told me, when you get a job, girl, burnt out. I was burnt out in nursing school, so is that wrong? Burnt out nursing school, was it? I was like, oh no, honey, no. You want me to do what? For help? Oh, child. So it was the old school. This took me back. But the old school way of thinking, right? You get a job, and my mother used to be like, always get a job with what? Benefits. So it was drilled in me to get a job, and you need to make sure it has benefits. And are you contributing to your 401k? And are you doing this? And are you doing that? And your parents working so hard, grinding, just to get you to a place where you could possibly get a job, like a career that makes decent amount of money, and then you want to, risk it all to be a tuba player. Not for real, but basically jeopardizing that job security that they think is so important, right? Get a job, work there forever, get a pension, and then retire. Hopefully have enough years where you're healthy enough to enjoy your retirement, and then die. Even with all of the things that people are doing in the creative space and having fulfilling careers in entrepreneurship, your parents are still a little wary of your risk taking, as are you, because you're also nervous about leaving that security of a job when you may have seen your parents, family members struggle so much, and then you have this job that is in super high demand, only in high demand, right? If you have a certain amount of experience, if you're in if you have the right skill set. I have a very niche skill set, so my marketability is not as great as my counterparts who are ER nurses, ICU nurses, mother, baby, all of that. Because they've stuck with that, they can go and do. Me, not so much. So with all of that being said, right, I want to share some stats about nursing with you. I'm trying to give you all this information so that it makes more sense when we talk about the stuff I'm about to talk about. Some stats about nursing. Did you know that new nurses leave their job within the first year? Roughly about 17.5% of new nurses leave their job within the first year. That stat jumps to 33 to 37% of new nurses leaving their job by the second year. That's a lot of nurses, especially when we live in a country where baby boomers are the largest portion of our society, and they're just going to keep going until like 2030 something. And it's just, oh, what's my area? I do like pre-op, post-op, cath lab, holding room. And so when I tell people cath lab, they don't hear the holding room part, which is very, very like niche. Like I don't do the procedures, so they just hear cath lab and they automatically think I can do this. And then I have to like wheel them back in and tell them like, hey, that's not what I do. Oh, hi ladies. Thank you for joining. So those stats are pretty scary to me because I can feel that. Within the first maybe month and a half, I was like, I don't know if I can be a nurse anymore. I don't know if I can do this. I was crying. I felt extremely trapped. I didn't think that I can handle it. And I have an entire YouTube video. It's 22 minutes long, but hi. I have 22 minutes long about why I just didn't think that I could be a nurse. Like I just didn't think that I could do it. The whole story, the arc of the story, crying on the units, crying in the med room, because I was like, I just got into hundreds of $1,000s worth of debt, and I am not in love. I'm not in love with what I'm doing, and I think I made the wrong decision. And Destiny just, anxiety. Yes, I had anxiety. I have anxiety now. This is further in my notes, but I have anxiety now. Like, I don't sleep very well the nights I'm going to go to work. It's very, very hard for me to go to sleep, and then very, very hard for me to stay asleep. So I'm usually at work off of like 3 to 4 hours of sleep. I'm exhausted when I get there. My anxiety is high. And it's mostly because I got comfortable doing what I was doing, outpatient services. That was cool for me, and it worked for me. But when you throw me back into the inpatient setting, I'm not 100% comfortable. Before I was off my orientation. Oh, she said she already knew. And that was me. Like, I was like, I can't, we're going to have to find something else. So I went back to school to be a nurse practitioner and then found out I didn't want to do that either. Right. So I'll just say that. So I was one of those nurses. I wanted to leave the bedside so desperately. And I couldn't. And then I realized that I probably couldn't get a job that was going to pay me enough money to help me pay back all the student loans. So talk about feeling stuck. Feeling completely stuck. And so some of the reasons why these nurses are leaving, right? Lack of satisfaction in their jobs, not being able to feel like they are practicing in their full scope, right? Feeling like they're very much like a doctor's helper, or the family doesn't respect them, or they're not getting the respect they deserve. Nurses eating their young, all of that, and not necessarily working with them and helping them grow as a nurse. Let's see. Before, she said, my pre-op, post-op nurse was amazing. I love educating my patients, Lewis. Like, I will sit there and ask them questions and fill them in, and they're usually like, oh, no one told me that. I thought I was going to be gone in 20 minutes. I was like, actually, you're going to be here with me for like 6 hours, right? So I give them the whole rundown. I educate them, because you're not going to be able to say that your nurse Amanda didn't tell you exactly what was going to happen. This is what's going to happen. This is what I expect of you as a person. This is what you should expect of me as your nurse. And now that we understand each other, these are the parameters in which we can operate, right? So anything outside of that, I've already told you, is a health hazard, all of that stuff. I like to make sure that they understand so that you're not yelling at me or pressing the call light every 5 seconds. Let's see. The respect factor, I want to say, definitely is a reason why nurses leave. I know sometimes I feel like I'm being disrespected. I remember seeing something on Instagram a couple of weeks ago where it was saying, like, family members would never yell at, like, somebody in the armed services would never yell, maybe they do, at police officers and stuff like that, but they feel so comfortable, like, getting all up in your face and yelling and screaming and cussing at you and calling you out your name and telling you how horrible you are when you spend 12 and a half hours with this person, cleaning them up, wiping them up, making sure that they're okay, coordinating their care, but they come in for 20 minutes, an hour, whatever, and they hate the way that you're doing it and feel like they can completely disrespect you. And that's supposed to be appropriate behavior. And I can tell why people are like, you're not about to disrespect me for 12 hours, or, I have to be here for 3 days a week, 4 days a week, however long. So I can say that I understand those feelings, and it can definitely wear on your career satisfaction because you think you're going to go in and you're going to be able to do one thing, but you don't get to do that thing. You don't get to do any of the things that you want. I can say that I did try to go into a unit. I did try to go into a field of nursing that I truly thought that I was going to enjoy. When I first got out of nursing school, I was like, I'm going to do mother baby. I already don't want to do labor and delivery. That's it. That's all I applied for. I only applied to mother baby, labor and delivery physicians, Visalia, Palm Springs, Sacramento. I was everywhere. I'm sorry, honey. She said she never felt so disrespected in her life until she became a nurse. Like, sometimes it could be so horrible. Like, they I don't know, they unleash it. And then as nurses, you're supposed to be like, it's okay. I understand that you're having a hard time. So it's okay that you completely disrespect me and then want to come back and give me cookies later. No, I have to take, you have to, years of experience help you to, like, take that and leave that at work and then go home and know that it's not about you. They told you to stay away. Girl, unless you're going straight into management, I don't know. Even management has their issues. But I felt that way when I wanted to leave, and then I realized that I couldn't. But where was I? Feeling stuck within the responsibility and what you really want to do, wanting to leave, feeling disrespected, feeling like you're not being able to move forward. And that's where I wanted to get in now, right? Like, nurses leave because they don't have career satisfaction. And when they leave nursing, they don't just go to another part of nursing. They leave altogether. So when I couldn't get into mother baby and I got the position where I am now, there was an opportunity to go to mother baby. And the supervisor that hired me into the unit that I am, or the pool that I'm in now, she's like, I realize that there's something that you really want. So go ahead and apply because it's really something that you truly want. And I thought that was great. So I applied, and when I tell you, I had 2 interviews. I think one before I was actually working, and one 6 months later. They were 2 of the worst interviews that I've ever had. I am a good interviewer. My mother made sure of that. 2 of the worst interviews I've ever had. Oh my gosh, I've never felt so disrespected, so brushed off, so anything you can imagine. That's how I felt in those interviews. Man. And I don't necessarily want to say why I think it was that I was treated that way, but let's just say that this particular unit has a problem. And it has nothing to do with me as a person and my application and my experience and all of that, because we're all new grad nurses. They just have a problem. And I don't want to go somewhere where it's going to be harder for me to do my job than it normally should be. So it was a blessing in disguise, but still, it was very disheartening to feel like I had it in the palm of my hand and for it to be snatched away because of no real reason other than a reason. So career satisfaction, I know right now for me, I feel very, very disheartened because in this time of a pandemic, I feel like I am definitely a creative. I've always been creative. I always wanted to draw, do arts and crafts. Like I always felt like a DIY, handy, all of that. And I feel the social media pressures to create right now. You know, everybody's saying like, oh, you need to come out with a new business. You need to come out with a new plan or this or that. And this is the time to do this or that while, you know, everybody's kind of hibernating. But that's difficult to do. That's difficult to do. It is very hard work to do that, especially when you feel like you've tried other stuff, but you haven't found your audience, or you feel like you're trying to, you know, get people to respond to your blog or your things, and people aren't responding in the way that you feel that they should, or you feel like your content's not worthy enough. And then there's also this other side, right? The other part of that is to be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. If you aren't able to create or anything like that. But then there's people like me who maybe want to branch out, want to leave their career, want to do something else, and feel like they can't sit still, they can't be gentle with themselves because they've been too gentle with themselves, which is why they're stuck in this predicament now. They've got to go to a job that they don't necessarily like, and they're watching all these people on Instagram who have the means to be able to stay away from the bedside, to stay away from a job that they don't necessarily love, or they have love for, but they don't necessarily need to go to because they feel their safety is in jeopardy, right? We signed up to take care of individuals. We signed up to take care of patients, but we did not sign up to be put in harm's way out of a nationally poorly managed pandemic, right? I didn't sign up to wear the same mask every day, all day, when it's supposed to be one-time use. You know, I didn't sign up for that. Thank God I'm a single woman with no kids and I live by myself, because I couldn't imagine having to take care of an elderly family member and not being able to take care of them in that way anymore, because I'm putting myself in danger every day to go to work and then have to come home and stay away from them if they need me. And also, it also pushes on us, or I can just speak for me, someone who's creative and maybe didn't do the work before COVID, before Corona, to be envious of other nurses, right? Envious of other nurses, and not in the way that you don't like them, but like, they don't have to come to the hospital if they don't want to. They've done the work, and, you know, and their stuff hit, and now they don't have to come to the hospital. They don't have to work at the hospital. They don't have to go to that job and risk their lives. They get to sit at home and sit this out until it's all over. And it brings and breeds feelings of inadequacy towards your dreams, towards your ideas, especially if you feel like you're stepping into unknown territory. If you've never been creative, but if you're feeling a pull or a tug or a draw, it can breed feelings of inadequacy, like, well, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Because is this even the time? Maybe this isn't the time. Maybe I should stop. And so and then you bring those feelings into your career, and then you at work, and then you huffing and puffing because you don't want to be there, but then you come home and you feel like you're not getting anywhere with your creative endeavors, and so you're just digging yourself further in. Can I take you? You know what? Did y'all see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? I just want Leon. Did you see that? Hilarious. So as for me right now, I feel very conflicted, and the reason I wanted to come on here and talk is because I felt like I was going stir crazy. I was going stir crazy within my house and at work, because I would go to work and I knew that I was doing what I needed to be doing, especially to help other people, but my heart wasn't in it and I didn't want to be there. And it's hard to give your all when you don't want to give your all. And so again, I tried to find the right fit for me, because I think a lot of nurses, they find the right fit and they're okay with going to work, right? So they're in the unit that they love, and it's not that hard to go to work because they enjoy it. I think that because I know that I'm not an inpatient nurse, like I just don't enjoy inpatient settings and I prefer outpatient settings, being thrown back into inpatient settings gives me extreme anxiety. And it's hard to say that because I'm old enough to be able to, you would think, to be able to control their emotions and just kind of do what they need to do. But I am learning that the anxiety hits Saturday evening if I've got to go to work Monday. Like, it's hitting at 4 p.m. on Saturday. And I spent all day Sunday just in angst. And then it's just a lot. So, and then let's see, what else I want to talk about. Feeling the tug. I definitely feel like right now during this time, my career has shown me that I feel the tug to be more creative, which is why I started the t-shirts. What do I like? Oh, what do I like about outpatient? We can talk about that. What do I like about outpatient services? I enjoy that it's very niche, right? This is what you came in here for. Versus telemetry or med surge, where there's a lot of stuff going on and there's, a lot of different systems. When I work in the cath lab, so when they come in, yeah, they may be a kidney patient and they may have acute renal failure and they may have all these other stuff, but all I'm focusing on is your heart in the moment. And we're kind of focusing on these other parts of your body, but I'm only focusing on getting you ready for your procedure. This is what I'm doing. So when I work in the GI lab, you're only here for your colonoscopy or your endoscopy or whatever you're doing. This is all we're doing. You come in, this is your procedure, you have a certain amount of time that you're here, and then you leave. And then I discharge you, especially in the GI lab, and then I discharge you. Then you're gone, and then we're done with each other. And it's very just like the turnaround time is this, and then especially in outpatient, it's a little slower, especially in the cath lab, because there's not a lot of, once the patients are done, they're just kind of recovering, for 4 hours. So I don't have to, as long as they're not bleeding, and then of course they need patient care. Are you okay? Checking on their sites and all of that, but I don't need to do any extra. There's no SpectraLink calling me. Can I, work with your patient with PT? What about this? What about this pharmacy? It's right here. Like, I checked on you. I'll come back in 30 minutes. They're sleeping. Hey, I'm going to check your site. Everything's good. Like, it's very much, it's a slower pace. And even when I have a lot of patients, it's still not so crazy as it would be on the floor. A crazy day in outpatient pales in comparison to a crazy day on the floor. Hi, Amanda. Rich Nurse, she has entered the chat and she has the cutest head clips. I should run and go put mine on. I have one that says nurse and one that says bae. Nurse bae, because that's what I am. So, like I was saying, I felt the tug to be creative and I tried to do something with that, which is why I started Tribal Sessions. If you're not familiar, that was something that I did a couple of years ago. I did a retreat, and I also did a flower arranging class, which I will be bringing back as soon as Rona is gone. I started my blog years ago, but I really started to take it seriously when I felt that I was unhappy with what I was doing at the bedside. So I started writing a lot on my blog about a lot of different things that were important to me. Sustainability is something that's important to me. This is one of my favorite thrifted finds, right? I love this sweater. Sustainability, less waste, zero waste, lifestyle, finances, because nobody really talked to me about that, and debt and all of that, and trying to get out of debt and manage that with a new career as well. I started selling t-shirts just recently. The link is in my bio if you're interested, but I started selling t-shirts because I felt that I needed affirmation t-shirts that spoke to me the way that I needed to be spoken to. And so I wanted to share that creativity with the rest of everyone. And I started writing with Alice Foy for Jane, Ella and Co. Like, I really enjoyed that time. It really it kept my creativity going. I wasn't always, oh, hi Lamont. I wasn't always able to write on my own blog. I had many, many droughts on there, but I was always writing for Jane, Ella, and that kept my creativity levels at least at an even kiln, because I felt really depleted personally, and so I wanted to, it kept me going. Hi Moshe. So that's why I did all of those things that I did, because I felt so dissatisfied with my job that I was like, okay, well, you got to start throwing stuff against the wall. You got to start trying things to see if you can be fulfilled in another way, because you know that you want to branch into creativity and those types of jobs or those types of endeavors. So you've got to give yourself a shot. And even now, or more so now, I guess is what I'm trying to say, more so now, I feel the tug, but it's definitely more, it makes me more sad, because we're in a time where if I had done the work, again, BC, before Corona, maybe I wouldn't be in this predicament. And so it makes the career satisfaction portion just so much more dismal, because I'm like, I don't want to be here, and I don't feel like I can escape, right? So I'm in this painful limbo of not being able to leave the way that I want to be able to leave, and feeling like I'm stuck doing something that I don't really want to do. So a lot of people would say, like, can't you just put the blinders on and just work and just do it? Like I said, serious anxiety. And it's to the point where now I knew that I have always advocated for therapy, but it's to the point now where I feel like I really do need to talk to someone, because I think last week, it was like Saturday at 4:00. And I don't know what triggered thinking about work, but I thought about work and my body had a reaction. And I was like, oh, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. Because I'm not afraid to take care of Corona patients. I'm not afraid to take care of Corona patients. I'm not afraid to go to the hospital. You want me to reuse the mask? It's wrong, but okay, whatever, right? But my anxiety is so much higher because I'm back on the unit, and I know that this is not, it's temporary, but for how long will it be temporary? So I'm back somewhere that already gives me anxiety. So my anxiety is heightened. And on top of that, I'm like, I'll just go ahead and give me Corona now. Just go ahead. Because at this point, every day, multiple times a day, exposing myself to the patients with reusable with masks that are not reusable, but we are reusing. How many months of this and we gonna do this? Might as well. Just go ahead and give it to me. So also, I don't want to become bitter and disgruntled at my job because of all of that, but I'm trying really hard not to. Also, why I can't just pivot and move now. I have debt. I have things that I need to take care of and all of that. So it's not like I can just up and leave the way that I would like to. And there is a lot of shame around being that nurse, right? And by that, I mean that nurse. It's a different story when you watch a nurse who really enjoys their job and they gradually move into a different position and morph into something new. There are a lot of nurses that I admire on this platform that have done that. They transition from bedside, do something different, and morph into this other thing. And nursing is still at the heart of who they are, but they get their money 5, 6 different ways, and it is not always because they clocked in and out. I don't want to be that nurse who's just like, I don't like it. There's a lot of stigma around that. I just don't like it. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, how dare you not like nursing? Everybody loves a nurse. But sometimes that's not the case, right? Like, sometimes you have to walk away from something because it doesn't serve you. It's not serving you in the way that it should be serving you. And it's really hard to be that nurse, to be like, this just wasn't for me. This just isn't for me. And are you strong enough to hold on to that stigma to be like, yeah, I know, I fought really hard to get here. And now that I'm here, I realize that I don't want it. That's a tough pill to swallow, and sometimes you have to stand strong by yourself while doing that thing. So some of the things that I've learned during this self-isolation, or sorry, not self-isolation, we're going to use the right terminology. I'm not self-isolating. I'm social distancing. But some of the takeaways that I found during this time is that, you know, yeah, I should have went harder before all of this, but that doesn't mean that I can't go hard now, and that I can't turn around the situation and make it work in my favor so that I can transition faster. I ended up getting low census. I know a lot of people won't know what that term is, but I ended up getting low census this week. And I just, my peace level is, I mean, yes, I have to go back next week. You know, your girl got bills to pay, but I definitely feel so peaceful in my spirit because I didn't have to go to that place. And that's not good. That's not good because I'm not getting paid to not be there. Like, I'm not there. I don't get paid. Another thing is I'm tired of my money being tied to my time. And so I think that's a lot of what's going on inside of here, right? Like, the older I get, the more I'm like, this clocking in and out stuff ain't for me no more. Like, I'm tired of my time being tied, my money to be tied to my time. Like, I want to be able to do more and give more, and I can't do that in the capacity that I am right now. So some of the takeaways that I found myself reflecting on is to fight for your dreams early and often. You know, I knew that blogging, events, merchandise, all of that were things that I wanted to do a long time ago, and I should have been fighting for those. And now I'm in a position where it makes me quite sad to not be further along, but also realize that just because I'm not further along doesn't mean that I can't keep going and to push myself towards the goal. Also, you know, the move might be messy. Tanya, I might have to, hi sister in and hi sister. I have two of y'all. I have a sis, I have a sister in, and I have a sister. It's all very funny. But the move might be messy and it might look drastic, but it might have to be done because you gotta be able to move in order to get to where you need to go. I only work 3 days a week, so it's not like I don't have extra time to work on other stuff, but a lot of the other stuff that I'd like to do requires me to be outside the house. And we're not outside the house right now. So, you know, it's a difficult scenario that I'm in. And also that it pays to be prepared. I used to love my little PTO stash. I no longer have that PTO stash. It is gone, baby. It is gone, gone, gone. And there was this lady that I was working with, and she's like, oh, she has like 500 plus PTO hours. 500 plus. So if she don't want to come to work, she doesn't have to. She could probably wait out this entire pandemic and still have PTO hours left. And oh man, as excited as I was for her and as impressed, I was very, very sad because I was like, oh man, what I wouldn't give to be able to take the time off, because there's too many people at the hospital right now. There's a lot of people at the hospital, a lot of employees, but not a lot of patients, because we're not trying to expose everybody, right? So only the patients that really, really need to be in the hospital are in the hospital right now, which is why I didn't have to go to work this week. But when I tell you that I was like, oh, slightly jealous, 500 hours of PTO, a whole month. I'll just give this in for context. A month of PTO for me is 144 hours. That's 3 12-hour shifts per week. So 2 months off is 288 hours. You get the math, right? So you can, exactly. So it pays to be prepared. A robust savings account, investments with dividends, like all of that, I could have been working on and been a little bit more prepared. Did I know that a pandemic was going to happen? No. But I know now that this scenario has placed me in a position that makes me uncomfortable and shows me that I needed to be more prepared. So that is a takeaway that I hope that you take, right? Like, I hope that it's exposed some of the weak spots in your plan. And so when it's time to pivot, that you're ready to pivot, because now I'm in a place where my body, my soul wants to move in a different direction, but my bank account and my bills say no. Also, to not sleep on yourself and your brand. I think that I have treated this somewhat like a hobby, and this brand, this channel, this page, this platform is something that I really want to use to help the community, to build people up, to show them an authentic journey to a fulfilling life, to give them encouragement, to show them that it's okay to be, you know, a young woman chasing after your dreams while staying true to your beliefs, your morals, and trying to help Mother Earth all at the same time. Like, I am definitely the hippie of my family, and my family is like, you know, they're learning from me in a way that I didn't think would be possible because of the lifestyle changes and the lifestyle things that I do. And I think that you've got to understand that though this is a Bible verse. I don't know it by heart, but it was like, though you may be young, like, you have things to teach. And so I'm just out here trying to encourage and to do, and I wanted to get on here and talk about the fact that not everybody's going to love their job. Not everybody's super happy with their job. And especially as a nurse, sometimes it's really disheartening in this season to be like, I wish I was that nurse that was, you know, like, wanted to go in and do all the stuff and help all the people. But if I didn't have to be at work, I wouldn't be at work. I wouldn't be putting myself in the predicaments that I'm in, because I wouldn't have to. That's right. It is. And it's okay. I don't have to, you know, put myself, you know, down on the ground to save you necessarily if I didn't have to, right? And so again, I don't mind being a nurse. You know, there are certain aspects that I love, but I know that if I had another means, that I definitely would be doing it. And so I just wanted to get on here and talk about the fact that sometimes your passion and purpose and your career, they don't match up. And so, you know, do as I say and not as I do. Be better. Work harder towards the things that you really, really want. Keep in mind the lifestyle and the things that you want to do and how you want your life to look, and orchestrate and coordinate and build everything else around it so that you can execute that, versus doing something and then hoping that you can turn it into that. No, start with the end and work everything else around. So I hope that you all got something out of this. I hope you learned something about nursing. I hope you learned something about me. Check out the t-shirts, check out my blog, check out my YouTube channel. All the links are everywhere in my bio. And oh, sister, they do. Sometimes your job and career finance your dreams. And that's what I had to do. I literally had to change my mindset about my job. Because it was to the point where I was like, I'm gonna become a stripper. That is my go-to. That is my go-to. Like, that is my go-to line all the time. When I'm at work and things are getting crazy, I'm like, I'm gonna be a stripper. That's it. I'm a strip. That's it. I'm gonna take my clothes off. I'm gonna give you some body glitter, some pasties. That's it. Right now, it's like, I tell my people, like, now I'm just gonna get an OnlyFans page. I'm not gonna get an OnlyFans page. I'm not gonna become a stripper. But let me tell you that when things get rough, I'm like, I'm just gonna become a stripper. I love to dance anyway, so why not? Just why not? They making dough. They make way more money than I do, I bet. So it's rough, and I had to retrain my mind to think about the fact that it can finance my dreams. But then again, that plays into the fact that I've got all this student loan debt, all these things that I have to pay for, And so I can't finance my dreams the way that I want to. So now it's to the point where I'm just like, well, we can't even do it the way that we want to do it. So you might as well be stripper. No, just kidding. We're not going to strip. Not yet. Okay. But I hope that you guys all enjoyed. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to go reheat up my tea, put a little more honey in it. And I'm going to listen to D Nice. I hope he's still spitting. Because when I tell you that he's been getting me through, he's been getting me through. Lewis, as a full-time creative my entire life, I've learned to determine what success is. Man, success is a personal definition. It's a personal definition. I wholeheartedly agree with you. It's a personal definition. Success to me would mean that I'm able to wake up and decide what it is that I want to do that day. So if I've decided that I want to be a nurse that day, that's what I want to do. If it's that I want to if I want to do ceramics all day and sell those pots and vases, then that's what I want to do. If it means that I blog or I work on the events that I have coming up down the pipeline, then that's what I want to do. It's the fluidity and the power of my own time would be success for me. And to not have to trade time for money. That is my true success. So, I'm going to get on Indeed. Drink this tea, listen to D Nice. I hope that you all enjoyed. If you came in late, I'm going to save it. Feel free to watch it and then stop at the point that you jumped in, or rewatch it if you want to see my face. And my curls. That is such a great watch and go. So I hope you guys have a fantastic Thursday. Please stay safe, stay dry, wash your hands. If you need to sneeze or cough, always dab. You know what I'm saying? And watch out for the Rona. And I'll see you outside somewhere. Bye, everybody.